guy was, I was just in his closed guard and he just kept breaking down my arm like this. He was getting his legs way up here. Then eventually I just slept. So what I was doing is I was fishing my arm back around, but then I never seemed to be able to posture up properly. So I was just wondering, show me what you were doing.
Right there, fellas, show the camera. So let's see what you were doing.
Okay, so I wait till they come up here. And then
Oh my God, what you doing there? Okay. And then?
I take their head off one. And I posture for Kimura. And they always fight.
Yeah.
So I stuffed it in here.
Okay.
And then I can go for a triangle or something like this.
Good.
Or if I can stuff it down here,
Yeah.
take the head off line.
Sure.
Here.
Very nice. Alright, scoot back a little bit and go on this line. No, go back.
You want us to move in front of the camera?
No, it's fine. That's a good effect for webinar. Go back right here where your spine is on this line. Eli. Put him in the guard. Alright, so this is, what are you doing right about now?
So right here, I'm either getting here or I'm trying to get this, but it seems like every time I get here, you just shove it somewhere. Oh yeah, right. I'll take it off my body. Try to get it down here.
So what if you don't let him do that?
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll break them. When I start digging.
Okay. Alright, so what I recommend is this. You gotta keep in mind that whenever you're in somebody's guard, your posture is absolutely everything. Like you see. Push on the bottom, break your posture. Because as you see what it does, it completely stops it from passing. But what I want to do is, I want to make sure that I have a very good base. Base consists of my knees and my hand. This is the third point of the triangle. If I'm right here, it's almost like I'm on one line. It's very easy to get my base offline, especially if I don't begin to kind of walk my hips back. But if he just slowly crunches, it's very not good for me. So I never really do that unless I begin to back out more. But what I do is this, I roll it and I punch it and I control it. So go ahead, Eli. Same thing you were doing to him. Go, no, sorry. You do that.
Right, one way.
What I was attempting to do was trap his arm.
Okay.
But I don't know if
Okay. So we're here. Go ahead.
It's hard with this in the way.
Yes. What I'm going to use my second hand. So here I want to control his hip, but if I feel him moving for that hand right there, go ahead and do the same thing.
Okay.
So all I want to do is just keep my base. I'm not really too interested right now in thinking about how to pass until I begin to feel that he's already kind of switched to something else, to a different strategy. Because what's happening is that there's wide scale strategy, which is big movements right here, okay? So he begins to move, it's shoulders, the whole body's moving, I gotta resort to small scale strategy. So now I gotta begin to kind of mirror him so that, number one, he doesn't break my posture, because he wants to break my posture, right? But, and I need to see it. Yeah. So number one, I need to let him kind of wear out because he's not going to be doing this forever. Okay, before I can begin to formulate anything. Okay. The next thing what I would do is go ahead. Try to begin to stand up a little bit because it makes his whole attempt to break my posture and more difficult. But at least I'm doing something versus letting him work. Because I can do that for a long time. But the key for you, I think is using your second hand for posture.
Okay.
The first hand, the kickstand, you still roll here. So you can't just push it off. Should I push my hand out?
Okay.
So I'm actually hooked in here.
Okay.
If he starts pushing it off, I can do this. That's not good for him. Go ahead, push. So I begin to control this hip with my knees. Posture up. And I see which way his shoulders are aligned. If he crunches in this way, okay. I have a free hand that can move here. But I have to be able to rotate this, pull him in, push, push. In some cases, grab it in the neck, pull back, push in. I always want to keep a good connection with kind of his sternum right here. Go again. Okay. And I want to also look up. If you really think about it, your eyes can be looking down. Really, I should do. Try that. Yes?
I had something. You mentioned something I've never heard before. I'm not saying you have said it. I haven't heard it before, and I wish you could expand more on it. You talked about mirroring him while you were doing that, and I noticed when he's on one side, you were on that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go more down that path?
Mirroring.
I've never heard that before.
Whenever you begin to feel that somebody's beginning to kind of engage and hit the gas and they're getting ahead of you, instead of trying to get ahead of them by making more movements, you want to begin to kind of mold yourself to their movement. And you want to begin to mirror their movement so you can begin to just counter their movement as you formulate from there, from feeling, what you potentially could do next. Okay. What I mean is, get your grip. So you go ahead. Move around. See here I'm mirroring because if I begin to do something, he's going to take me off balance. Because you have to think, get the other person off balance and make them collapse. Everything collapses. You're moving so much with big movement, I have to mirror the big movement, and I have to be able to, number one, keep my balance so I don't collapse. If I collapse because of losing my balance, I'm completely screwed. And this is really what he's trying to do here, by using his whole body. So I have to begin to mirror until I feel what's going on. Go ahead. There, I felt there was some opportunity. He's doing a good job. Moves his hips well. But there's a moment where you can only do that for so long. You can only go at that pace for so long. Because where's he going to go from there? If he begins to go like an arc, go, woo, and he's not succeeding, it's almost like he's got to switch something out. And you have to be able to ride that storm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Does that kind of make sense?
That makes total sense. No, it really does, because that helps me on the bottom as well, too.
It's exhausting on the top.
But more on the bottom, like, right?
You know what I'm saying? But
weren't you riding his energy a little bit?
I am, but I gotta make sure he doesn't disbalance me so I don't collapse. If I collapse due to loss of balance, I'm gonna have a way harder time. And he's gonna have a huge advantage because you gotta make him collapse. It's the whole point of what he's doing. Because on the bottom, what I would do to use strategy, I wouldn't put so much energy in. I would think to myself like this. It's okay. Get your clothes. So I want to make him collapse, and I need to make him lose balance. Now, all that movement he was doing, it's exhausting. It's exhausting to even watch because it's exhausting. And I know this is full body movement. Okay. So here, I say to myself, okay, where's his balance coming from? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. So what do I need to do? I need to attack corners. 1 corner, 2 corners, 3. Not as much this hand. This hand's not doing much. Just keep my hip down. But if I attack a corner, let's see what happens here. So you lost some balance. Yeah. Now I'm here. I want to keep this on him here because he's got to fight for it. So as he tries to posture up, I'm going to make him work. Step another corner. This one went pretty well. You see how much less energy I'm using? A lot. He's using a lot of energy. So what I'm going to do is, so what's happening here is, his hands, his legs, his whole body is so locked in to where the only option he really has is to make big movements, is to use kind of a wide scale strategy. Meanwhile, I can focus on small scale. Look, here. What I'm doing here, I'm pushing his knee out, but I'm taking this, and I'm going perpendicular to that line. All I need to do is get his head past this line. He'll tilt. If he feels this break down, he'll have to readjust it. I can move him the other way. Just look, go ahead. Look, I'm here, and I'm crunching. He'll reset. Would you go from here?
Try to go back.
Okay, good. You see how he's making big movements, I'm making small movements. And I can be here and it's very efficient. He'll wear down. And because I'm listening to his breathing, I can gauge to what level he may be tired. Because at some point, I'll go from small scale strategy to big. Okay? So go ahead. See what I'm saying? So you have to begin to use strategy when you're doing jiu-jitsu. Otherwise, you're going to be doing more checkers in chest, and you need to trade in your checker pieces to chest pieces.
Checker's so much easier.
You can get good at checkers, but if that other person has just a couple of chest pieces,
Absolutely.
it's going to be tough. Is that going to make sense?
No, it absolutely does.
And granted, we rolled for almost an hour. You know, much strong guy, moves extremely well. So, you know, it's a wonderful thing to see, to make it to where I can't just at will just flip him over. You know, that's a very positive thing. You know, excellent work. Does anybody have any other questions? Yes.
With the arm raiser, when you're getting the arm lock, could you get it with just your leg over the face?
Show me.
If he's blocking the.
Show me on somebody.
Okay.
Yeah. But go over there so we can be on camera. Yeah, and Kurt, head to the camera, feet to the logo.
All right.
And Luke.
Could I, so if I have it here, and say you're blocking me from getting my legs over, could I come down and get it here
With one leg?
with one leg?
Why would you not be able to get that leg over?
If he's blocking it.
How did you get the left leg over?
Sorry?
How'd you get the left leg over?
If he was blocking it.
Go back.
He was
Start,
blocking.
go before you get the left leg over. So, how about you do this? Focus on the arm lock. Don't do that right now. Focus on the arm. Okay? Step over with your right leg. Okay? Lean to the right and sit on it. But see that foot right there? You gotta walk it into his armpit because he feels the right foot. The one attached to your right leg. Do you see where his armpit is? Sit on him to the right. Keep your left knee down. Okay, sit on him. Lean your head towards his leg. Look at his knee right there. Lean your head that way. Take your left leg. Lean to the right. Lean your head to the right. To the right. That way. Take your left leg over his head. Okay. Sit down. Stay up. Don't lean back. Okay. Do you feel that your legs are attached to him?
No,
Okay. Do you feel you're attacking his arm?
a little.
Do more. Attach your legs. Use your legs. Attack the arm. No, attack the arm. Lock your feet and engage your hips. Engage your hips. Now look. This right here. You got long legs. Now what I want you to do is try to lift your hips off the mat by putting your heel on the mat. Or unlock your feet. Put your feet on the mat. It's fine. Right there. Lift your hips up. And lean back. Keep your feet on the mat. Lean back. Rotate your hands. Rotate your hands. There you go. Good. Now you gotta understand one thing. The key to arm locks is your legs and hips. If you got long legs, hips, big legs, you gotta start using them. Because you're not using them. Because they're like dangling like this. There's no arm lock. Arm means you're using your full body. So you gotta engage your whole, you gotta scoot into him and you gotta do this to get your hips off the mat.
Okay.
Just get the arm, lay down. Get his arm, lean back. Sit back and lean back. Get the legs open.
Yeah, really. Take this one.
Yes, and I want you to do this. See how your toes are pointed? When your toes are pointed, that right there is about all that's working. You need to pull your toes back and spur. Open your knees, okay? And try to scoot your hips in. Good, that's it. Now lean back, switch your arms to grab the wrist, your left hand. That's your right hand. Okay. Look, you gotta know which one's your left and your right. Okay, that's very, very important, okay? Look, your left hand, just rotate it. There you go. Now unfold it, but don't let go with your legs. Keep the legs engaged. Yes, toes. Yes, yes. Grab the wrist, to the wrist, to the wrist. Both hands at the wrist. Both hands at the wrist. Sit up to the wrist. Put his wrist to your shoulder. Both hands at the wrist. Two hands, yes. Lean back, slowly. Engage your hips, slowly, slowly, slowly. You sure you're good? Your legs are not that much shorter than mine, okay? So if you can't lock him because Kurt's big, I'm sure it's a bigger Kurt, okay? I need to be able to attack his arm, okay? I need to be able to hear, so I pull him into my hip. You see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
My legs aren't doing it. Look what I'm doing with my leg. Do you see what I'm doing with my heels?
Yeah.
I'm spurring, so I can and lock on. My hips are engaged. If you're here and just leaning back right here, why would you not push your leg off the head and come up? And here, even with my toes, watch, toes are pointing, and I'm push my leg up your head. Push my leg up your head. I can't even keep it there. Spurring. Go ahead. Because I control the head, but I'm leaning back to attack the arm. Look, left hand. And my hip goes up. Okay? Very, very important. If your hips are not going up, you're just laying here. You'll take this leg and push off your hip. So you have to be able to learn how to engage your core. Here, and then if you want to do this, oh boy, you really engage your core because it's all about the hips. If I do this razor and my feet are up like this, he will rotate his legs out and there's not as much tension here. He can tilt me this way and he'll begin to get out. And I'm in it. Versus engaging my hips right there. Because that puts a lot of pressure on his arm. You see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
But if I'm like just like this, and then this arm is floating, and this arm's floating, and so this. No, go forward. Just lean back, make your back, get tension, and that's it. And then just feel the control. And I'm keeping it bent. I'm not doing this. You guys all. No, I'm here. That's it. Does that kind of make sense? Hips are absolutely key. Your power comes from your hips. Okay? Last question. Anybody have any questions? Yes?
I was watching a video today, and I guess I missed it, but it was on the